I'm here with Dr. Elaine Aron, the expert on high sensitivity, the author of the best-selling novel, The Highly Sensitive Person and The Highly Sensitive Person in Love. And we recently released our third film, Sensitive Lovers, a deeper look into their relationship. And one of the things that we are talking about there is that in our culture, people expect the other person to change. But there are some things that you cannot change. You cannot change your temperament, but you actually can change how you handle a conflict, and that can save your relationship. Elaine, can you go deeper into that?
Yes, definitely, because they actually have found that temperament differences or personality differences can lie behind 42% of divorces, which is kind of shocking. But I think that when you understand, it's preventative. Once you understand your temperament differences, that can save a lot of problems. But another factor that is there, which is what I've talked about in another video, differential susceptibility. And sensitive people who've had a more difficult childhood will perhaps have more difficulty in relationships. We talk about attachment style, being securely attached in the first 2 years of life, especially, actually carries through into adulthood. We feel secure with our partner, with a close other person. But if we were insecure in those early years, the personality is very conservative and assumes everything in the future is going to be like that. Then there's two kinds of insecurity. There's the one that's kind of anxious and so kind of clingy, like I'm afraid my mom or my partner will leave me if I don't just be really good and keep an eye on this person all the time. So that tends to lead to fears of abandonment or jealousy in a relationship, and feeling one down, because the anxious child and adult is basically one down. It's the other person who can leave. They can't leave. So then the other style is avoidant, where the anxious style parents are kind of inconsistent, but the avoidant style parents are more neglectful or harsh, and they're not giving the child what they need. So the child tries to become someone who doesn't need anything. They can get it all themselves. Or they become indifferent, seemingly indifferent to the caregiver. But they do need that caregiver, and they do want to be in a relationship, but they don't want it to show very much. So both of these styles, anxious and avoidant, are very hard on relationships, as you can imagine. If you're a secure person, having someone so anxious all the time or someone so disconnected all the time is not fun and doesn't feel very normal. If you put an anxious and avoidant together, oh boy, that's what I call the windshield wiper relationship. The anxious tries to get close to the avoidant, and the avoidant moves away, but then the anxious person says, well, maybe this relationship isn't working for me, I'll go somewhere else. And the avoidant is right back there calling and making contact and that, let's go out to dinner, because they don't want to lose the relationship. They're just afraid of getting too close. So it's hard for relationships to heal these things. They can, but it's hard to be understanding about some of this. So then we say mental health issues in relationships are the biggest cause of breakups, and they have to be dealt with. So it's probably needed to go into individual psychotherapy to deal with that. Couples psychotherapy is also very important. I joke that almost every couple needs a couples therapist, kind of like a primary care physician, that when you're having a problem that you can't talk about between you because it gets too volatile, then you go to somebody who can contain it and maybe teach you some skills or give you some new perspectives. And that person should be equally helpful to both people, equally responsive, so that it doesn't feel like anybody's being favored over the other. And it's hard to find a good couples therapist. You really have to shop around for them. And if you're highly sensitive, or one of you is, then it's very important that you find a couples therapist who understands sensitivity. I know a man who wed with his wife, a sensitive man, and the couples therapist just told him, well, she has a right to leave you if you can't act more like a man. Which, what defines a man? Well, I guess what the woman said defined a man was what defined a man, because sensitive men are very manly in certain ways, but maybe not in certain aggressive ways that people expect men to be. So it's important to realize that when a couple is having problems, it's never just one person's fault. Even if it seems like one person's causing all the trouble, the other person is letting them do it. So if you're in a relationship where the other person refuses to take any blame or see any role in what's going on, then there's not much hope for that relationship, at least for the communication part, and probably for the power who's kind of controls everything. But if there's other things you like about the person, maybe you'll stay with them, or other circumstances. It's very important for all couples, but I include sensitive couples or people where there's a highly sensitive person, to be sure to do some positive things. It's kind of like there's a bank account, and stress and conflict, you're withdrawing money from the bank account, and doing fun things together, you're making deposits. It's important for some of those fun things to be novel and exciting.